Hey, I want to talk about competitiveness today and what it means to be too competitive and when you should be competitive. So, I'm personally a deeply, deeply competitive person. In my personal life, I think this is really good for me. I think this idea that I want to be better than others helps push me a lot. Um, there's many ways in which that's an unhealthy way to view others. And over the past 4 or 5 years, I've been working on dealing with that idea of what it means to be too competitive, and when is my competitiveness hindering my my growth and my behavior as a person. I first read in the book Top Dog by Ashley Merriman and Poe Bronson, I believe, the term maladaptive competitiveness, which is basically referring to being competitive in these settings where you really shouldn't be, being the guy who flips out at the family Uno game. And when I first read that, it kind of like hit the light bulb in my head, turned that on. I realized that I mean I wasn't raging at the family card games or whatever, but I realized that I need to balance myself out when it comes to competing with others, when it comes to always viewing myself through this lens of relativity to others, where I stand in contrast to someone else who's my age or has my upbringing. These aren't that important things to look at in all contexts. Now, the book also does emphasize the extreme value of being competitive and how it can foster growth as a person, as a group, for people, for a society. Like, competitiveness is critical actually to, I mean, it's biological in many ways, but it's critical to growing. It's an amazing way to push yourself, and unless you are like completely enlightened, it's hard to manifest like the desire to be perfect out of purely internal motivation. Competitiveness gives you a reason to strive and and to push yourself in really important ways. Um, Obviously, and like this is something else that I think about a lot is there's like an amount to which you should not push yourself maybe, but I don't want the pendulum to swing too far in the direction of relaxing because in my life it has before where I've let the foot off the gas and coasted for a while, and I think it's important to make sure that you are being hard on yourself and pushing yourself and being competitive in things that matter, particularly in my opinion, values and traits, being as hardworking as someone else or as compassionate as someone else, as weird as that sounds to be. I see someone else being a great person and I'm like, oh, I got to be a better person. Maybe that's weird, but for me that helps motivate me to grow myself, viewing the world not exclusively but somewhat through a lens of how well am I doing in the things that matter compared to others. It helps place myself. It helps give me things to strive for. And at the end of the day, yeah, it helps, you know, get me riled up. It helps get me where I need to go, get me in a headspace that pushes me. Going back to maladaptive competitiveness, when should we not be competitive? Because oftentimes there are things that are fun. Let's just go to a simple example of playing soccer with your friends, and it's a pickup game. How competitive should you be? You shouldn't be sliding around and risking injury to others, right? In a pickup game with your friends. Okay, but you shouldn't be just standing there and just like picking flowers, right? Like then you're wasting everyone's time. So in every kind of activity, there is a balance to be found on how competitive you should be. And in a pickup game with your friends, it's probably trying like a decent amount. It makes the experience more fun, and your presence in the moment. Being competitive is lending your attention to something and caring about it, and your presence elevates it. But when one person is trying much harder than everyone else, then you're ruining things. So it's important to read the vibe of the competition, particularly with friends, with anyone though. But I do kind of want to uphold in the environments I'm in And I don't think this is not permissive of fun. I want people to have fun and be creative and express themselves in play and in whatever. But I do want to also uphold like a standard of, like if we're showing up to, let's say we're doing like a pottery class or a dance class. If we're showing up to this, let's not like waste our time. Like let's be serious. Let's engage with what we're doing. And this might be straying a bit away from competitiveness and a bit towards just the general concept of taking what you're doing seriously. But I think they go hand in hand, and that is kind of the main thing I want to talk about today is this struggle that I have with maybe being too serious with stuff, and the fact that it's not even something I particularly want to change about myself. It's something that I'm happy with. The fact that I am present when I'm doing things and they matter to me. And yes, I try to make a conscious effort not to put anyone else around me off in these group settings or when we're doing these activities by taking it too far, being too competitive. Um, but at the same time, like I feel like I'm disrespecting myself and the people around me if I'm just messing around. And obviously there are like complete times where you just like you're playing like Wii Sports with your friends, obviously, but I do think as a whole I like my current philosophy of taking things a bit more seriously than maybe everyone likes to. And I wonder where you land on that spectrum, if this is something you think about ever. Maybe it's not. I'm a bit neurotic about competition, so let me know if you have these thoughts at all and what you think, how you deal with them. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.